Good Erev Shabbos, Parshas Terumah. Tomorrow we will read Zachar as well, and then we are on the runway to Purim itself in the middle of Chodesh Adar. At the beginning of this Sedra, the Torah outlines several of the Kalim that are used in the Beis Hamikdash and the Mishkan, and then subsequently in the Beis Hamikdash, and they include the Aron, the Shulchan, and the Mizbeach. The Aron, which is the ark that held the luchos, the shulchan, the table which housed the showbread, the lechem hapanim, as well as the mizbeach, which of course the altar upon which the Bnei Yisrael through the Kohanim offered the sacrifices of the karbanos. Now, what's interesting to note is that the construction of each of these, at its center, is atzei shittim, and the atzei shittim, the wooden frame, the wooden skeleton of the table, of the aron, and of the shulchan, and of the mizbeach, are all wooden, but they are laden with a golden exterior. So, although they're gold-plated, and when you look at them, you see the beauty, the shine, the bling, if you will, of the gold. But at its core, each one of these is made of atzei shittim. Now, what's the symbolism here? So I believe that there are two fundamental points. One, as Rabbeinu Bachya points out, the atzei shittim, the word shittim, and this, of course, should be understood homiletically. The word shittim is an acronym. It's a Rashi Tevos. And it stands for Shalom, Tov, Yeshua, and Mechila. Shalom, peace. Tov, goodness. Yeshua, salvation, redemption. And Mechila, forgiveness. And so the Mizbeach, the Shulchan, and the Aron, three of the essential Kalim representing the Jewish approach towards Avodas Hashem, has a great beauty to it. That is the skeleton. That is the gold plate on the outside, but on the inside, the focus, the essential core, is simply values of kindness, goodness, forgiveness, and peace. The atzei shittim. It's a simple wood. It's nothing fancy, no bling, no shine. And it can't trade it on the open market for $2,000 an ounce. But in that simplicity stores something extraordinary. And I think that's really a message for life. There's so much which is beautiful and colorful and extraordinary, and it should draw our attention. However, at the core of things, we can never forget the most essential basic elements, and they're simple. Atzei shittim is contrasted to the zahav, to the gold, by its simplicity. And gold, well, may also in a certain sense be simple because it's just gold, but of course it has all the elements of style and of precious metal and of monetary value, and these all have a place in the world, but they're not the core of who we are. The core of who we are a few basic, simple principles. And I think that is one fundamental reason why these kalim are at their core made of atzei shittim, even on the outside, appropriately so. They are plated with beautiful, precious metal of gold. But there's another element here, and I think that it dovetails with the first fundamental point, and that is that there's a certain element of a certain quality of humility here, right? The atzei shittim represents humility rather than the pride associated with gold, and that too is a fundamental core value when it comes to how we engage our avodas Hashem, our mitzvos ben adam lamakom, and most certainly how we must engage one another, our mitzvos ben adam l'chavero. The fundamental basic building block upon which our entire spiritual lives are built, even as they are built into facades of grandeur, they are based in simple the simple, basic, fundamental midah of anivus, of anava, of humility. This seems to be in contrast to one of the other kalim in the Beis Hamikdash, and that is the menorah. The menorah is made out of pure gold. It's miksha zahav. It's one whole golden element hewn. And so why is the menorah not have at its core also the atzei shitim? It should be atzei shitim, gold plated. How's the menorah different? And I would suggest that the menorah is different because the menorah represents the light of Torah, the light of the Shekhinah, the light of Hashem, and through the Torah, Hashem's will in the world. And that is pure. That is pure, and that is gold. In its highest sense, zahav, gold, certainly represents something which is beautiful and awesome and is precious, but only represented through the perspective of from Hashem's perspective can gold really be gold all the way through to its core. The other kalim are what we add to the avodah. The menorah, in a certain sense, represents Hashem himself. The other kalim, the mizbeach, is what we bring forward in order to do the avodah for Hashem. The aron is the casing that we build in order to house the Torah, the aron, the luchos. And the luchos, of course, are made of, are made of stone. Whatever stone they are made of, maybe gemstone, but whatever stone they are made of. But what we contribute to it is the aron, and of course the shulchan as well. We are contributing, we are making the shulchan upon which the avodah of the showbreads will reside. And the breads themselves, the showbreads themselves, have a certain greatness to them. They are these beautiful showbreads, right? But what we offer ultimately is the table. So what we bring to it, what we bring to the avodah, has to have at its core the atzei shitim, to remind ourselves, to give us a little, a little cold water splash in the face, to remind us we're not so great and high and mighty. We are wonderful, we are awesome, but at our core we have to remember that we are human beings, flawed, failed, with all types of frailties. We are the atzei shitim. And that is why those three kalim that we bring to the table, as it were, to enable the avodah, those have the atzei shitim at the center. But the menorah which represents the pure light of Hashem, the pure light of the Torah, that is going to be gold through and through. And it can be gold, because coming from Hashem's perspective, coming from the perspective of the Shekhinah, only from the perspective of the Shekhinah can gold be both beautiful and awesome and precious and humble at the same time. A paradox. So as we read Parshas Terumah, we are reminded both of the awesome nature of what we can attain in life, the gold that surrounds, the gold plate that surrounds the menorah, the aron, the shulchan, and the mizbeach. But we are also called to remind ourselves, to look ourselves clearly in the mirror and see ourselves for who we are. And as great as we become, and all our achievements, and all of our progress, both personally as well as nationally, as the human race, as far as we go, we always must remember that at the core, atzei shitim, a sense of humility, a sense of the basic core values that guide us: shalom, tov, Yeshua, and mechila. And with those guiding principles at our core, paradoxically, we can rise and achieve to the greatness of zahav, to be golden. Good Shabbos to us all.